Pregnancy is perhaps the most wonderful time in the life of husband and wife. They are looking forward to the appearance of the long-awaited baby with joy and excitement, preparing all the necessary equipment and accessories, cribs, playpens, strollers, and so much more. They are thinking about how to secure their home as much as possible so that the baby is safe when they start to crawl, so that when they start going, they can't pull anything heavy on themselves or open unnecessary cabinets. And as sad as an accident like that can be, it's nothing compared to finding out there is something wrong when the child is born. Then the parents realize with bitterness that their child would never have been able to reach the cabinet or crawl up to the table and pull off anything dangerous from it anyway. What grief it is for a family when a child is born with a disability. Parents try their best to help them with anything they can. And when traditional medicine gives up and doctors tell them there is nothing else they can do, only parents really believe in a miracle and continue fighting. They try their best, hoping their beloved baby will recover. This story happened in one family who already had two beautiful daughters ages 3 and 7. Their parents loved their little ones so much, but the father always said that he really wanted a son and just dreamed that his wife would give him one. The wife, of course, also wanted a son, but she had some health problems and was getting older. But finally, after thinking over all the pros and cons, the couple decided to try for another baby. Her pregnancy was very difficult. The woman's chronic illnesses worsened. She worked very hard and could not wait until these 9 months were over. If only she had known, she may have reconsidered her wish. Perhaps it was her constant thoughts about giving birth as soon as possible, or it was just a matter of circumstance. But in the 7th month, her water broke and labor began. They realized that this was still a short time for the baby to be born completely healthy, but they sincerely hoped that everything would be okay. The baby was born and he was their long-awaited boy, but sadly, he had serious health problems. He was completely paralyzed on one side of his body. Endless trips to hospitals and medical centers began. First, the couple visited all the neurologists in their city. Everyone prescribed their own medicines, and they were endlessly sent to various treatments. Each doctor saw their own way past the issue, but they all agreed unanimously. If the boy was not on his feet by his first year, then it would be too late. The baby would grow, and every day it becomes more and more difficult to restore his atrophying muscles. 6 months passed. The baby's parents continued to frantically rush from one doctor to another, following all the necessary instructions, but nothing helped. Their son was not getting better. Then they decided to go to another city and try their luck with other specialists. But the appointments were the same everywhere: medicines and treatments and other forms of therapy. Unfortunately, they did not come up with anything new. Then they learned of a new specialist who had come to their hometown and was receiving new patients. He had only just recently finished his residency. The parents were very skeptical about the young specialist because even experienced health workers could not help them, and he was still inexperienced, according to the father. When the young specialist examined the child, he looked very seriously at the parents, and instead of the usual prescriptions, he wrote the word dog on the notepad. The parents were extremely surprised and outraged by this prescription, but the young doctor quickly explained himself. He said, "I'm pretty sure you have tried all modern treatments, right?" The parents silently nodded their heads. The doctor continued, "Then listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. If you really want to get your baby on his feet, then get a dog. I have been doing a lot of studying on the effects of pet therapy for human health, and I would not advise you if I was not sure about the result." When they left this doctor, the mother was simply indignant. She tightly hugged her little boy and scoffed that the doctor could suggest such a thing. How could an animal in the house help if their baby could not even turn his head to look at him? The father silently drove his wife and son to the house, helped them inside, and said he was going to go somewhere. When his wife asked where he was going, he replied that he was going to buy a dog. He warned his wife that it was useless to argue with him, since in the struggle for the health of his son, he was ready to do anything, even try the most absurd idea. He returned to the doctor to ask clarifying questions about the dog. He learned that it was best to get a Chow Chow or Labrador, and preferably from a shelter. 2 hours later, the man brought a 1-year-old Labrador puppy home. The mother was very skeptical about the whole idea. There were 3 small children at home, and now a dog? She sincerely could not understand how this 4-legged animal could help their son. When the dog ran into the house, their daughters were very happy and immediately rushed to meet her. The dog let them cuddle her and then ran into the room where their son was lying on the floor. The woman rushed to protect the child from the beast, but the father held her back and said to wait and see what would happen next. The dog ran up to the baby and started sniffing all over. Then she began to poke her nose into him as if trying to turn him over. The baby lied in silence and only looked at her. Then she began to nudge him with her paws. She pressed the baby onto his side and tried to turn him from the back to the tummy. But then when her teeth became visible, the mother could not stand it and shouted for her husband to immediately take the dog back. The husband only calmed his wife down and continued to follow the strange actions of the Labrador. The dog bit the paralyzed side of the baby from the tips of his toes and then along his body to the fingers on his hand. It seemed that she was doing some kind of special acupressure. The bites were soft and gentle. Surprisingly, the baby was not afraid and didn't even cry. It was evident that the dog was doing everything very carefully and constantly monitored the baby's reaction as if she knew exactly what she was doing. 3 months passed, and every day the dog would run to the baby and give him the same kind of massage, until one day the father noticed that the baby began to twitch his big toe. A few days later, he reached out with his hands to his 4-legged fluffy friend. Doctors continued to shrug their shoulders at the results. They said that with such a diagnosis, recovery was impossible. But the parents simply danced with joy that their baby had finally shown tremendous progress in his unusual treatment. In practice, paralysis treatment with the help of animals is often used, mainly hippotherapy, treatment with the help of horses. Other animals, like dogs, can be very useful in this matter, as this story has shown us. What do you think about the story? Share your opinion in the comments, click like if you enjoyed it, and share the story with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to click the bell icon so you do not miss our new videos.